Let's go to the kitchen now. Today we're making bread. I'm going to use a recipe called Kafka na Praia, an altered version of that. Alright, first thing you need to have to make bread is yeast. Okay, I've got 10 grams of instant or dried yeast. And I'm going to put 1.5 cups of warm, maybe a little hot to the touch, but not scalding water. Put the yeast in the bowl, and then add 1.5 cups of hot water. Mix it up a little bit so it can disintegrate quicker. After that, add a little less than 1/2 cup of brown sugar, the 2 eggs, and try not to get any shells in there. If you do, just pick them out. But don't worry too much, it just adds texture. Add about 1 cup of flour, and I'm adding 1/2 cup of wheat germ, or what I think is wheat germ. 1.5 tablespoons of margarine, one and a half teaspoons of salt, and just start mixing. You can also put this in a blender and mix it in a blender for about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, after you have it all down to liquid, well, or smooth, put about 4.5 more cups of flour. So you should have about 5.5 cups of flour and 1/2 cup of wheat germ, or 6 cups of flour. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5.5. And have a little extra flour standing by because this may not. Oh, that may not do it. Now I'm starting with the whisk because that's just the way I do. I'm gonna have to pick out some stuff in the middle of the whisk once I get it all. But sooner or later you're gonna be using your hands, or I'm gonna be using my hands. Remove all this stuff from the middle of the whisk. See? No more whisk. I'm gonna use my hands. Just keep throwing the flour in there. And it's gonna stick all to you. Ooh, Ebola. Now hold the camera. Wash my hands. Put some flour on my hands. Just shove it into itself. Try to get all the flour. Okay, if it's still kind of sticky or still sticking to you. Now, if you wash your hands, make sure you dry them. But if it's still kind of sticking to you, then you need more flour. But it seems like this is enough flour for this. Probably too much flour. Don't know. Okay. Snapping the baby. Snapping the baby. Now I'm going to cut this in half so it's a little smaller. Okay, now I have 2 halves. Oh, okay. Before I get to that, let me go ahead and grease this pan. I need a decent sized pan. I'm just going to put some oil. Go around with a paper towel. And that's as grease as it's going to get for me. Oh shit. It's not oil. What is that?
It's oil with pepper.
Oil with pepper? Will that work okay with the bread?
No.
Okay, now wash the pan. Okay, this time put vegetable oil with no peppers in it. Okay, now we got a grease pan that doesn't smell like peppers. Okay, take one of them. Kind of round, sort of looking. Put it on one side. And put it on the other side. Remove everything from the oven. Just sit it in the oven and let it rise there. Let it rise for about 30 minutes. And clean up shit while it's rising. Okay, after about 30 minutes, let's check on it. It should have been about doubled in size. Light the oven. at about 240. After letting it heat up for about a minute or two, go ahead and stick it in there and let it cook for about 30 minutes. Okay, turn off the stove. A general rule is if it's almost burning, then you probably should pull it out. It's been a little over 30 minutes, but I had it on a higher temperature, so let's try it. It's a little raw. I'm gonna stick it back in there. Okay, let's try this again. They are definitely well cooked. Don't forget to turn off the oven. What do you think?
What?
That's good?
It's a little different than the other.
Yeah, it is quite a bit different. I replaced your regular bread with new diet bread. Actually, this one sucks compared to the other one. 2 eggs and duct tape. First, you need a kitchen. One good way to find one is to find someone with a house. That's where the duct tape comes in.